Welcome to Investomania, brother.
Let's talk about Roku. That's ticker symbol Roku. Don't you just love it when ticker symbols work out like that? Roku is an all or nothing bet. That's my opinion anyway, and it has been since it's become public. If Roku does well, and it has thus far, the stock has the potential to be a 10-bagger long term. However, the fears of many may come true, which is that Apple and Google and Amazon will get serious about competing in this space, and Roku will be left in the dust. Roku has been on fire for many years now, even before it was a public company. The company is doing fantastic. They're growing like crazy. I mean, they've got accelerating revenue growth, ARG. All right, 2 years ago, they were growing at 25%. Last year, they're growing at 29%. This year, 57% year-over-year growth in their last quarter. I mean, you just do not get that type of growth out of many mid-cap companies. Of course, you know, it hasn't been a mid-cap company for that long. The dang thing is just growing so quickly that it's now a mid-cap company. The growth is phenomenal. And the business potential, don't get me started. If you're a regular Investomania viewer, you know we love platforms. Apple turned their company into a platform with the iOS store. Google turned their company into a platform with Android and YouTube. Amazon turned their company into a platform initially with self-publishing ebooks and then again with third-party sellers on Amazon. Even think about things like PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo. What are these? These are platforms for other companies to produce content on. We love platforms. If I had a bumper sticker, it would say, "I heart platforms." Not only do they have the ability to grow significantly, but the businesses actually become stronger as they grow. You want these companies more and more as they grow, not less. Having said that, there's a reason why most platforms are created by already massive companies. Google was already a $167 billion company when it purchased YouTube and a $151 billion company when it released Android. Microsoft was already a $246 billion company when it released the Xbox. Apple was already a $125 billion company when it released the App Store. Roku is a $6.7 billion company today, and the platform is their product. They have nothing else to feed money into that business if competition heats up. Amazon, Apple, Google, Microsoft, Sony, these were all established businesses that had streams of business bringing in billions of dollars in revenue in other areas, meaning if they had to temporarily subsidize the platform or any new given business for whatever reason, they could. Roku cannot do that. When it comes to a Roku investment, it is much less about Roku itself and more about its potential competitors. What I mean by this is if Apple, Amazon, and Google never took a dominant share of this market, right, this kind of like video platform streaming software type market that Roku's in, and Roku is able to maintain a solid chunk of that pie, Roku would continue to grow as a company and stock for many years to come. The concern is not, will this area grow? Will this business concept work? The concern is the competitors. Who is ultimately going to be the 800-pound gorilla in that space, or who are going to be the 2 or 3 players who are the 800-pound gorillas in that space? In order to figure that out, we need to look at the competitors. The first generation Roku was released in May of 2008. This was before Apple, Google, or Amazon had gotten into this space. Apple was the first competitor to release a competing product, which occurred with the Apple TV in September of 2010. Google came in next with Chromecast on July 2013, and Amazon followed suit with the Fire TV Stick in November of 2014. So, these major competitors have been around for a while, but not as long as Roku. How is the market looking? In 2017, Roku was still leading the market with 38.9 million monthly active users. Chromecast came in a close second with 36.9 million, Amazon a tight third with 35.8 million, and Apple, on the other hand, well, they were in a distant fourth with only 21.3 million users. So, first thing first, let's go ahead and eliminate Apple from our list of primary concerns. They've been around for 8 years, almost as long as Roku, which was a little startup at the time, and has failed to win market share. Why? Likely because people who don't own iPhones probably won't buy an Apple TV. And since 84.4% of smartphones sold worldwide are not Apple, it's unlikely Apple will take over the smart TV world. Will they have a share? Of course. But they're not going to take it over. I don't think they're going to be the iPhone equivalent of the smart TV world. Particularly since these smart TVs are not being subsidized in any way, shape, or form, much like the smartphones were, at least in the past. This is not a smartphone where people are going to pay hand over fist for the highest quality. People aren't going to be wanting to ship over $1,000 so they can have the iOS and the App Store and whatnot. People want it to be good, but mostly they want it to be cheap, at least for the time being, and that's not an area where Apple does very well in terms of things being cheap. They're, of course, on the higher end of things. There's a market for that, but I don't think it's going to cut away too much from Roku's potential. So now we're left with Amazon and Google kind of in a two-way close second to Roku in terms of market share. This is notable as Roku has been around for about 10 years, while Amazon and Google have only been in this space for about 4 and 5 years. If all you look at are the numbers, you will come to the likely conclusion that Amazon and Google will surpass Roku probably within the next 2 years. Now, let's move to the next step. Which competitor should we be more afraid of? Which one should we be looking at more? Google or Apple? Google or Amazon? I say Amazon. Why? 2 reasons. 1, Amazon has already proven they are willing to lose money on Amazon devices just to get them into people's hands. Every major company understands the true power that comes in the physical device. Once you have the physical device in someone's hands, you have control over everything else, or at least a lot of control over everything else. Companies can create profits by pinning other companies against one another just to bid for being a default application on a given device. One of my personal favorite examples is how Microsoft pays Apple $5 billion a year just to be the default search engine on the iPhone. If you ever wondered how Bing got such a large market share, that's how, paying $5 billion a year to Apple. Amazon understands this and sells their devices at razor-thin margins and sometimes even at a genuine loss, as it is the case with their tablets, just to get the physical device into the hands of the customer. Google has demonstrated their similar aggressiveness in the past. Why do you think Google developed Android in the first place? You think they were just being nice? Or did they understand in order to protect their search business, they had to be the operating system? Or else, companies like Apple, with their own operating system, they'd have control. And they could choose whoever they wanted, or whoever was the highest bidder, to be the default search engine. They created Android so they could be the default search engine. Why do you think Google developed Chrome? You think they were just being nice? Oh yeah, let's just give our stuff away for free. That's our new strategy. Give all our products away for free. Or did they realize they could only control the default search engine if it was their own browser? They can't control the default search engine on Safari and Internet Explorer, but they can on Chrome. Why do you think they bought YouTube? You think they just woke up one day and said, hey, I feel like buying a video website? Or did they realize YouTube would be the search engine of videos? You want to search for a website, you go to Google. You want to search for a video, you go to YouTube. Today, YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world, second only to Google itself. You think that's a coincidence? I could go on, but you get the point. Google is dangerous, and they will do a lot to protect search. In years to come, it makes sense. TVs will begin to operate more like computers in addition to TVs, and that means search. Whoever has that default operating system on the TV will control the default search engine, and that makes Google dangerous. Having said that, I fear no man like I fear Jeff Bezos. The second reason, and honestly more significant reason for why I fear Amazon more than Google, is Amazon.com itself. Amazon promotes its devices extremely heavily. It seems like every time I go on the Amazon homepage, I'm either seeing an Amazon sound device like the Echo, an Amazon tablet, or Amazon Prime Video. While I see Fire TV Stick periodically promoted, it's not nearly as often promoted as other Amazon devices, which of course are higher priority for them. However, I think it's only a matter of time before Amazon makes their own Amazon-branded TV, which obviously would have their OS built in. In typical Amazon fashion, they'll sell it at razor-thin margins. It will be promoted along with all the other Amazon devices. And when you search for a smart TV, what do you think is going to be the first result on Amazon.com? Amazon doesn't even have their own TV yet. And yet, when you search smart TV on Amazon.com, they are already the second brand result. What I mean by that is the first four results are different variations of the TCL Roku TVs, which is then followed by the fifth result, which is the Toshiba Fire TV edition. When you look at the best-selling smart TVs on Amazon, the TCL Roku, in various sizes and resolutions, holds all of the top 5 sales spots. So for the time being, Roku remains at the top of the list, even on Amazon.com. But I fear this may end once Amazon comes out with their own Amazon TV, and not just a TV equipped with Fire OS, but they don't exactly own the TV. It's just a partnership. For example, search the word tablet on Amazon, and both of these sponsored results are Amazon tablets. The first 2 standard results are also Amazon tablets. Okay, how about searching smart speaker? The first 2 sponsored results are Sonos, but they have Alexa built in. So that still helps out with Amazon, which is then followed by a list of various top-rated from Amazon devices, which starts out with a whole bunch of Amazon smart speakers. Then we get into the standard results, where the first and third result are Amazon smart speakers, with the second result being another Sonos speaker with Alexa built in. I have absolutely no reason to believe Amazon will not eventually create their own branded TV, and I have no reason to think they won't sell it at razor-thin margins, market it very strongly, and rank it high on related searches, thus potentially resulting in significant declines for Roku sales on Amazon.com. But that's just Amazon. What about the other major TV retailers? What about Walmart? What about Best Buy? Other websites like eBay that sell TVs? Good point. So let's take a look at Walmart.com. Again, when searching for smart TV, the TCL Roku is the 7th result. Here are the top 10 results. Sharp, Samsung, Samsung, Vizio, Samsung, JVC, TCL Roku, Scepter, I don't really know how you say that word, Sharp, and Samsung. Clearly, Roku is not seeing a high ranking from Walmart. However, when you search by best selling, the TCL Roku is the #1 best-selling TV. This is despite its relatively low ranking. That doesn't happen by accident. I like that. It means that people are buying Roku potentially because they want that name brand. Now, of course, it is also one of the cheaper TVs out there. That's, I think, definitely a large part of it. But I think it's a combination of A, they have one of the cheaper TVs, and B, would you rather have a generic smart TV or a Roku smart TV? Now, once they start having more heavy competition with Amazon and Google and Apple and whatnot, those are all great brand names. But for the time being, if it's okay, you can have a Vizio smart TV or you can have a Roku smart TV, well, I'd rather have the Roku smart TV. And I think most other people would agree, provided this price is the same. All right, so let's move on. How about BestBuy.com? Again, search for smart TV. Here are the top 10 results. Samsung, Samsung, Insignia with Roku, Sharp with Roku, Vizio, Sharp with Roku, Sharp with Roku, Samsung, Insignia with Roku, TCL with Roku. 6 of the top 10 results on Best Buy are Roku-enabled TVs. That is pretty dang dominant. Oh, and by the way, if you switch to best-selling, the Insignia Roku is the #1 best-selling smart TV on Best Buy. All right, how about eBay.com? When searching for smart TV, the TCL Roku is the #1 result. Due to the structure of eBay, they don't have a best-selling section, or at least I couldn't find it, but they are the #1 ranking. Roku-enabled TVs are the #1 best-selling smart TV on Amazon, on Walmart, on Best Buy, and are the #1 ranked result on eBay with a default search. Even if, or let's be honest, probably when Amazon comes out with their Amazon dedicated TV, I'm assuming it's going to be called the Fire TV. Bezos, feel free to use that name if you want. You're welcome. Even if they come out with a TV and it's at razor-thin margins, heavily promoted on Amazon, thus pushing Roku down in the search results, I don't necessarily think that will be the end of Roku. Roku has a strong brand name that is on equal footing with Amazon TV or Apple TV or Chromecast and whatnot. Roku has built that brand name, and I don't think that brand name is going anywhere anytime soon. While Amazon is on an extremely important platform and decreased exposure and increased competition on Amazon would not be good, I don't think it would necessarily be the death of Roku as a company. They were extremely aggressive. Roku was extremely aggressive in creating partnerships with TV manufacturers, which I think was a vital decision to stay alive in this increasingly competitive market. If down the line, Roku CEO Anthony Wood believes it's appropriate to sell his own dedicated TV, I am confident he will do so successfully. However, I understand for the time being, he wants to stay neutral and merely provide the software. Once Roku creates their own TV, that will be in direct competition with every other TV manufacturer and may severely damage those partnerships. Think of it how Google handled Android. For the first 8 years of Android's existence, Google stayed 100% neutral and only provided software to the hardware manufacturers. It was only after Android was firmly established market-wide did they bother releasing the Pixel. I think it can be a similar situation that applies here with Roku. One last note. On the day Amazon releases their dedicated TV, I do expect Roku stock to significantly plummet. It would not surprise me if the stock goes down 15 or 20%. Obviously, it'll depend a little bit upon Roku's evaluation and how their market share is doing at that time, but it would not surprise me at all to see a very large drop in their stock. However, Amazon won't immediately destroy Roku as a company. And Roku's stock, I believe, will gradually come back over the next couple months, the next 1 to 2 quarters. And if you want to get out, you will have an opportunity to get out at that point. I will reevaluate my position in Roku at that time. I probably won't be too scared if a dedicated Apple TV comes out, since the price point is going to be so high. I don't think it's going to drastically affect Roku's business. They kind of compete. They'll probably compete a little more with like Samsung and higher end TVs. To be perfectly honest, if there was a significant dip on the release of a dedicated Apple TV, I'd probably be a buyer, if anything, except the dang stock is running so fast. I have to keep taking money out, not putting money in. And if Google happens to release their dedicated branded TV, I will also look into my investment at that time and see what I think. But as I previously said, I personally believe Amazon will more likely than not beat Google to market, at least in a significant way in terms of a dedicated branded TV. So there you have it. I'm currently long Roku and plan to remain long Roku for the time being, but I do periodically take some profit off the table as the stock has been running up pretty quickly. And I don't want my position getting too large, as I do consider this a relatively risky investment. Sorry if I did not explain why I like the whole smart TV software space in the first place. If anyone would like me to do that, just let me know in the comments section. Maybe I'll make another video. For me personally, my being or not being in this investment revolves not around the space itself, but much more around the competitors in it. If you want a company that has tremendous growth potential, like I said, it's 10-bagger potential, and you are willing to take a significant amount of risk, I would say Roku is a buy.
And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.